I'm not going to be on long. I thought I'd give you a prelude the land, our land, and how our government mismanages as if they're managing our land properly. Remember a long time ago, Independent, he said that he would not allow foreigners to be owners of our land, that, they put it on a lease agreement, where they pay and then eventually the Bahamians will be the land owners and, educate themselves and bring the wealth, keep the wealth, and keep the Bahamians empowered. Remember that? Y'all remember that from way, way back? That this is under the PLP. Now, I hope y'all can hear everything I'm saying because I'm about to play something of the Coalition of Independence's Vision 2030 that has been in the public space for a very, very long time. And I want to play it, and I'm going to let it play out straight up to the part where you'll see the leader of the opposition and deputy leader speaking to it. They've been aware of many things, so let me first just play this. I don't want to talk much. I want this information that's on our website called the Coalition of Independence 2030 Vision. We had a 2025 vision, but during that by-election, you decided to go back to the vomit. And now here you are scramming, been told that you got to wait until Christmas for your money since July. You've been told that you actually got to wait till election. We can give you a little coupon for a fridge, maybe a stove. That bed that you wanted to get through social service, you have to wait forever. You might get it. It all depends on who's actually operating in that office. Here comes the skullduggery all over again. Just a different day, but the same foolishness. So I am not going to talk a lot. I just want to play it. When you hop on, you can listen to this when you can. All right, let me just make sure I bring this camera. You don't have to sing it. Just listen.
And they don't want us to really know what is going on. Something is going on. Shouldn't they be transparent? Didn't they promise transparency? Shouldn't they be the ones looking out for Bahamians? Or is it that they have something to hide? Well, this is the dreaded document that persons have been calling for, and people have been saying release the documents. And guess what? Last week, we even insisted that they release the documents. And here it is. This is the infamous lease from the government itself to Sandy Key Development Company. This lease was entered into with Sandy Key on the 20th of April in 2012. And you can look at the details of this lease. And as you look at the details of the lease, you're going to see some very strange things in here that may shock you. And it's the terms that the government agreed to that was most worrisome for me. And so this indenture of lease leases our seabed to Sandy Key. And it does so for 25 years. And so this lease gives them the rights, the sole rights to that area for 25 years.
Listen in. How they manage our land.
And so to get access to 500 square miles of our seabed to be able to mine, all they had to do was pay $7,500 per year.
Wow.
Of course, it increased from years 3 to 7. It goes up to $8,250. From years 8 to 12, it goes up to $900. From years 9,000. From years 13 to 17, it goes up. And so there's a scale. But this is nothing. The most that they will ever pay is $11,250 for the entire year to be able to mine this product worth billions and billions of dollars. In fact, based on their numbers, it's worth trillions.
Mm-hmm.
You can't even rent an apartment for $7,500 a year.
Exactly.
This is mind-blowing. Who sat down with these people and agreed to this?
They must see that their money on
I'm
the
trying to figure
table.
out who are our negotiators.
That means
In addition, they paid a royalty of $2 per ton. Now, they reported in the media that their royalty was 5 to 10 times more
keep
than
listening.
had previously been
Yeah,
paid.
clean my screen.
But here we see that it's still $2 per ton.
That's $2.
And so we don't know what it is that they were reporting and why that they would, reportedly lie to the media. But here we see that they paid $2 per ton. And if you continued, maybe this was the reason they said that they would be paying more, is because it says that a royalty computed at $2 per ton for the demised minerals exported from the Bahamas, encompassing the first 5 years of the lease, after which the royalty shall be computed as 10% of the sales price, with a minimum fee of $2 per ton, up to a maximum fee of $12 per ton for the demised mineral exported from the Bahamas. So, in other words, they're saying that for the first 5 years, you'll just pay $2. After that, we're gonna add a little percentage on it to make it 10% of the sales price. But the max you'll pay is $12. So there's a cap on it. Who put this cap on there? Which one of our brilliant negotiators put a cap on there to stop us from being able to get a proper percentage? But here it goes. The percentage is deceiving, because if they sell to themselves through setting up other companies in the United States of America, then the percentage is null and void. Isn't this the same thing that Celine Pillin went through? Why are we making the same mistakes? Why are negotiations absolutely not improving? Listen, man, we hire, educated fellas in coat suits to negotiate on our behalf, and this is what they're coming up with. Listen, Grammy from the straw market can negotiate better than that.
Exactly.
I promise you. And so this is a part of the lease that really bothered me and really distressed me, because it's our property, it's our land, it belongs to the Bahamian people that they were giving away. And look at this. It talks about the royalty records, and it said that they should keep an official registered office in Nassau, and of course that they should actually have audited records that they keep, so that we can probably ascertain how much money was being made from this. So in other words, we have to just trust them. But as you heard from a witness on the ground, there was no one from the government there. So whatever they told you they sell is what you just have to take their word for it. What kind of accountability is that? But with this, it says that they should allow the lessor, which is the government, and any agents and contractors that they have for that purposes, to be able to inspect the accounts and the documents and everything else, and be able to take copies of that as they wish, to be able to see what the records are, how much of our aragonite is really being taken out. But it says that the government should treat this information as confidential and shall not be disclosed to any other person. And so while our aragonite is being taken out of the country, the government has to keep it secret as to exactly how much aragonite is taken out and exactly how much is made from this aragonite. Who signed this deal? This is treason.
Please tell us who signed it.
We should be living in an era of transparency, and if it's our aragonite, the public should know. The government actually put in this lease that they will not tell the public how much aragonite is being taken from this country. And we sit down and allow this abuse. If you look at the document carefully, it literally says that as they're exploring the seabed, if they discover anything, if they find anything, and all of the things that they discover, that it must be kept secret, that they must give a report, and this report will be kept secret from the Bahamian people. This is right here in writing, that this will be kept secret. No matter what they discover, no matter what is going on, everything must be a secret from you. That is what was put in writing. Wow. Not that is what the investor wanted. That's what your government wanted. And so after giving them the ridiculous sweetheart deal of $2 per metric ton, they go on to give them more concessions. After they can make billions off of this $2 per ton deal, now they say that the government will charge them no customs duties on anything. Tariffs, emergency taxes, no excise taxes, no fuel taxes, no export taxes, or other duties, taxes levied, fees or charges of any kind whatsoever shall be levied or charged or collected by the government, the lessor, or any agent thereof, upon or against any article of material of any nature, including without limitation the materials and everything else that they're doing. Jesus. Who signed this deal? Who signed this? We need some new negotiators. We could have made some extra money by taxing certain activities, but they allow these people to exist and be able to do whatever they want. And so here's what your amazing government negotiators did again. While they kick straw vendors out of the straw market for owing rent if they come into any hard times, and while you would be thrown out of your apartment if you come into hard times and you can't pay, look at what they did for... Wait, I just need to pause this there, because like I said, this was an introduction for the land, but the land is part of our natural resources, because this is going to talk with salt too. But did they say in a contract, let me back off a little bit. I'm sorry, but I just finished working out. I didn't intend to come on. They said they didn't waiver exemption. Did you all hear that? Did you all hear that? They waiver the tax exemption. They put this in a contract. I want to know who signed this. And that was at the time where they was hustling the straw vendors. So this a little, a couple of years ago. It ain't too far. So did you all hear that? You all hear the negotiators that we call government, how they negotiate? Everything should have had VAT on that. So that money could have gone into the treasury, so we could have actually built a hospital in this couple of years ago. This must be about, I don't know when Minutes was in there, so we're looking at 8 years ago. Lord help us, Jesus. Anyway, let's continue to listen, because I said I wasn't going to talk, but I didn't listen to this in entirety. I was just introducing this for when I talk about the land, but the land is the natural resources. For this multi-million-dollar company, they put a clause in there called hardship. So in the event that things don't go their way, or that any is unforeseeable circumstance, and they come into any kind of hardship, and the lease is economically unforeseeable for some reason, that the government is now forced to go back and renegotiate, have discussions with them in good faith to explore revision of the lease in order to make such terms economically feasible and to rectify such hardship. And so if these millionaires, come into any hardship, that they're going to give them an even sweeter deal. They actually put that in writing, that they are literally, if for any reason, let's say the boats get too expensive or anything happens, that the government is forcing itself to come back and give these guys an even sweeter deal. So we don't want to pay $2 anymore. We want to go back to that 6 cents. How about that?
What?
And so your government even put another clause in there that if their profits are not what it's supposed to be, that they can come back and negotiate a better deal. They even put in there that if there's any substantial change in the rate of exchange with the United States dollar currency, that they can come back and renegotiate a better deal. Listen.
I'm literally, I did not listen to this. I just figure, let me come on. I was going to read some more information on Vision 2030 on our natural resources, because that's where I'm at. I figure I'll read until, I recuperate from my workout. And I came across this and I said, oh, this will be interesting for the public to listen to see how the leaders of the Bahamas under the governments negotiate. Now, Mr. Bain have the document. He's actually reading from the document about renegotiating, what percentage we'll get, how much what you call they bow down backwards like this, like that, to make this contract happen. But they ain't charged them no custom. It's in the documents. They waiver the custom duty in a contract to persons who came in on this negotiation that he has. Please keep listening, because I'm like dumbfounded right now. Even I could have negotiated better than this. You think you say the old woman? I could have.
Listen, guys, we need to hire a Grammy from the straw market, or maybe a coconut water salesman or something, to start negotiating deals on behalf of the Bahamian government, because this is not working out. This isn't impressive at all. And so fasten your seatbelts. This is the most disturbing thing about this to me. Arbitration. They said if there's any dispute existing between the lessor, which is the government, and the lessee, with respect to the interpretation of application of this lease or any right or obligation hereunder, that it has to go to arbitration. They actually put a clause in here to say that the government can't even sue if there's something that goes wrong. They have to go to an arbitrator, and the decision of the arbitrator, which may be by a majority vote, is final, and that you waive all rights to appeal. You cannot appeal it. You renounce all of your rights to be able to appeal such a decision. This is mind-blowing, that they can't even take it to court. And the most they can do is go to the Supreme Court of the Bahamas to get a third arbitrator if the first two arbitrators have some kind of a draw. And so even if these foreign people come into our country and do something they're not supposed to do, break one of the covenants, if they pollute our land, if they do something that is out of order, the government can't touch them in the courts. And the government put that in writing and forced themselves to be held by that. Something is terribly wrong. And so we skimmed through this document because of time, but we're going to make this available on our website, BahamianEvolution.com. But we needed to know who signed this deal, because there's no way that a Bahamian signed this deal. There's no way that one of our professionals who is educated and walks around in a coat suit and necktie signed this deal. It's no way that someone who's being paid on behalf of the Bahamian people signed this deal to benefit the foreigners over Bahamians.
Oh,
now I can see why they kept this secret. They don't want you to see how they've just been blundering on behalf of the Bahamian people. And so I looked at the signature page, and it was signed by Hubert Alexander Ingram. That's his signature. I know it well. And this is the signature of Anthony Myers. Our government signed this deal that basically benefits them.
Mm.
And when I say them, I mean the leasee. It benefits Myers,
Wow.
not the Bahamian people, in my opinion. It's time for us to move to another level. And we can see that this same Myers set up companies in the U.S. and was selling to himself in the U.S. We call on an investigation and a commission of inquiry to determine exactly what has been going on. Now we see why they've been quiet. One, because they put in writing that they must be quiet. And none of them would reveal that to us. They could have simply come and said, listen, the document says that we can't tell you on anything. And we put that limitation on ourselves. But the other reason is that they know what's going on. And so whereas Myers might have gotten a lease to say that you can only take this sand for beach restoration or this aragonite for beach restoration, if he sells it to himself in the States and the other company does other things with it, then that's the trick. But that needs to be investigated. So while as a people, we've been attacking or looking sideways at local and foreign investors for what's been going on, the truth is that it's our government that apparently has been to blame. It's our government that has not been negotiating well on our behalf. And you can infer many things, many reasons why. Some people say it's because of corruption. Some people say that they just didn't know they're incompetent. But whatever the excuse is, there's no excuse. It's time for something new. And so while there's a whole new world out there and all kind of opportunities for Bahamians, both local and individual, and in terms of our sovereign wealth fund, we keep putting governments in place that are thinking like they're still 60 years behind, 40 years in the past. And it's time to move 40 years in the future. We can do it. Is there opportunity in the aragonite market? Of course there is. It is just as huge as those professionals you heard today has been saying. It's just as huge as the other persons who wanted to speak off the record have been saying. In South America alone, in Brazil, they do fracking, which is a new way that they drill for oil. And they use 80 million tons of sand in order to do fracking. If you only get $100 per ton, that's $8 billion. If you only get $50 per ton, that's $4 billion. If you only get $25 a ton, that's $2 billion, our entire year budget. There's huge opportunity out there. We just have to change our thinking and expand our horizons. And yes, Curling is right. We have to open up ourselves to the markets. In Singapore imported 59 million tons of sand from Malaysia, their close neighbor. They imported that because Singapore is constantly trying to grow. They're a very small country and they're trying to grow, and the only way that they can grow is to reclaim land from the sea. And they're trying to build another 20 square miles of land in the near future. But all of their neighbors have stopped selling them sand. When they started the process, they were paying $5 a ton for sand. They went up because they needed it so much. They went up to $190 per ton, $200 per ton for this same sand. They are willing to pay whatever they can get, especially because of the fact that the neighbors have decided to stop selling the sand to them. This is a major opportunity for the Bahamas. And we know that the government has actually given a letter to someone mysteriously in secret that the public doesn't know about, so that they can go and negotiate on behalf of the government to move, on behalf of themselves, to move about $10 billion worth of sand, to see if they can find a buyer for $10 billion worth of sand. Why are these deals so secret? Why are these kinds of things happening? It's time to empower our people. And so while we keep blaming the investors, I think we need to point at the people that we kept putting in power. We kept getting so many calls from the salt industry and people in the salt industry, people down in Inagua, saying that they want their voice to be out. They want us to pay attention. They said, don't.
Now, I want y'all to keep this in mind that this documentation could be found on the Coalition of Independence under the Vision 30 documentary that shows you videos on all our natural resources. I think there's oil, aragonite, sand, and land. Actually, all of this coincides with my talks with regards to what we have on our Vision 2030. And what Mr. Bain was explaining there was under the Minnis administration, where his name is on that contract. See, that's why it's important to have the Freedom of Information Act. But we don't need that Freedom of Information Act anymore because the COI is the new Freedom of Information Act. They can hide, but things will come out. Did you understand how they negotiate? They were so flexible that if the investor was having some hiccup, they can come back and renegotiate. Wait, they don't pay no tax or nothing. That means that our custom duty tax, they got waiver, but you paying VAT. I mean, I can't believe what I heard there. It's when you think you're having a great morning, we got about what, a couple more minutes on this. Maybe I should just let you listen to it in entirety. And then I need each of you to go on the website and listen for yourself, because we don't have the right leaders in place to negotiate for the future generation. Now, this has happened. There's nothing we can do about it. I don't blame if an investor come in, he got a bunch of donkeys. I'll ride them. The investors about building their country so they can get the best deal for less. But the Bahamians people have to understand who they put in charge ain't leading. Why would you waiver customs duty? Why? That don't make no sense. And then you have so much flexibility for the investor. Fine. But it's your natural resources. All right, we're going to finish off here. Hold on.
Don't forget us down here with this salt thing. And so they decided to send us, a message. They decided to talk to us and tell us what's really going on down there. And they feel that the Bahamas has been ripped off, not because of the company, but because of the governments have not taken this seriously.
As for molten salt that is currently located in Great Inagua, the island is uniquely situated on the equator line, resulting in a lot of sunshine and very little rain, thus making the production of salt very profitable. The company estimates the production of about 1.2 million tons of salt per year. The government should receive hundreds of dollars per ton.
Wow.
This is our natural resources.
Right.
Molten salt should be contributing to the development of Inagua, which has not been done for the last 15 years.
Yep.
This company has government concessions for everything. Morton only sells salt to their company in the United States, who in turn sell the soil on the open market. The government is not fully aware of the amount of soil being exported out of the country. The country could be getting undercut. They are the only major employment on the island, resulting in the employee being fired or mistreated on the job if they don't comply with the company's commands.
Wow.
As for the land Morton has control over, it is leased, which means it is owned by the Bahamian people. They are dumping waste products into the land, resulting in the land becoming useless. In addition, ships coming from the United States with waste product that they dump overboard into the Bahamian waters. This cannot be done in the United States. Why is it being done in the Bahamas? The government need regulations to oversee this company's practices, environmental health and labor, just to name a few. It calculates, like, let's just say there's a boat that comes here. It's 50,000 tons. Then that means that they're going to pay something like 50,000. 50 to 60, 500 to $600,000 for that. But because it's the maximum ceiling on that, it'll only be $500. Jesus. Wow. Yeah, so they're pretty much getting away with murder. Now, here's the funny part. Martin doesn't really have an agreement with the Bahamas. They operate under the Agriculture and Manufacturers Act. The PLC came to realize that when they were in office the last time, and they started to negotiate a new contract with Martin to pass the way forward. But election happened, they didn't get it finished. There was a lot of distraction. Towards election time, they never got the process completed, and so an agreement was never reached. Agriculture and Manufacturers Act, which is a generic act. Yeah. They just do, and they add other stuff to it, like when they get their yearly bonds and signed, they would say, and it also includes this, and also includes that, like, trucks for managers which are not in the act. They would say that that's also included in that. Okay. And other perks and stuff, they would just add just a handshake thing. There is no written act at all for it.
A handshake.
Originally, the handshake would have included Martin being responsible for water, providing water for the people, providing electricity for the people, for Martin fixing the roads and everything. But so far, on this term, all of those responsibilities back over to the government. Yeah. But they're still getting all the benefits, but they're bringing in all of their goods duty-free.
Duty free. Them two getting it duty free.
So they make nothing in terms of major contributions to the island. Wow. I mean, American Customs collect something like $3 million a year from them. But that's a drop in the bucket compared to how much billions the company is worth as a result of the salt that they get from Inalwa. They have consistent buy-ins like in Northern America, like Canada, Iceland, places like that. They provide road salt for them for the snow. They provide salt for chemical plants that work in chlorine plants, saline for hospitals, fishery salt in packing fish or packing meats and the rest of that. They are affiliated with all of that. They have table salt that they do, which is the sea salt, not the one that you get is actually a cheaper salt that they mine like out of Arizona and stuff. Iron salt would be the sea salt, the Martin sea salt, which you pay a lot more money for. That is directly from Inalwa. Inalwa is one of the highest qualities of salt found in the world because it's like 99.8% pure salt. Wow. The other salt that you'd see everywhere else is much less than that.
Wow. Well, if you think...
In the last several weeks, we set out...
If you think... When this happened, it happened several years ago. Contracts been signed on different natural resources from the 60s. But this one there, you will find this on our website. It should be under Aragonite. I think that's the last one I just played just now. Not on the oil, under Aragonite, where the Anaguians, Anagua, where thousands of Haitians showed up. That very island that could have been prosperous, could have been beautifully reinvested and have the purest and the best natural salt in the world. He said that the contracts is a shame Even everybody who's listening on this live right now could negotiate better contracts. So what they have contracts like bogus. I call it bogus contracts because you have to been getting something elsewhere. Because that contract makes no sense. Just like this bill don't make no sense. They trying to pour down our throat. You need to stay informed, Bahamian. This is no time to be emotional about what's happening in your country. Mr. Bain has risen up for a time like this. I don't care what nobody say. It is what it is. Those latecomers who want to come 6 months in around Christmas time and think they can swing the people again, they better think again. The Bahamians need a drastic facelift. They need a higher vibration, higher standards for those who call themselves politicians who are now made their career on negotiating stupid, ignorant deals that don't make no sense for an entire country. On the salt, somewhere back, this opposition leader was the minister on the agriculture. What has he done for the salt industry? We have the best salt in the world. Would they bypass the BAMSI or the Minister of Agriculture guidelines too? We need to know. Boy, when you got a corrupt politician in the Bahamas and they going after your natural resources and competing to make sure you don't get involved, and you have investors who do deals, and I don't blame the investors. I believe you should get everything you can get because they stupid and you are smarter. But now this information was exposed by Mr. Bain with regards to our salt, our sand, the contract that was... My granddaughter honestly could negotiate a better contract in this. I'm sure my grandson could do it. All my grandchildren could negotiate better than that. You are that greedy. And you hold a ring around the Bahamian people by imposing BAT going on 10 years now. You all still want to pay $10 for a gallon of milk? You all still want to buy crap from other countries that mightn't even be real food? You all still want to do this? And then you're going to allow them to come during this Christmas and give you all the fridge through social service or make you wait forever in social service to get a bed or rental. You all see they go into placating other people who should not even be in our country. And then they won't put the bill. That video that I just showed you was years ago. The bill is the nail in the coffin. I want you to go and visit our site. It's the Coalition of Independence website. And then if you look at my other live feed, you'll see the link. You can participate. You don't even have to have no long conversation with nobody. Go on the site, type in your name, first and last name, email address, express your concerns, say how you want to help, say how you want to participate in the next protest because it's coming. It's coming. Because from the 60s, Mr. Lincoln Bain showed us a contract. In the 60s, this contract was when Minnis was the prime minister. The shortest prime minister in history had to have a snap election. That was it. He's out. This one here must even be a total blowout. Educate yourself with our laws, first of all. That's important, okay? Be informed because you've been abused. We can't say it often enough. Any political party come in the next 6 months, like the last election, over 11 different parties came in. They didn't make a dent. They didn't stop anything. They used their brains. They would come together now with the COI because we're the number one third party over the DNA. Okay, I can say it. I was the executive for the DNA, and I could say that. We are that force. Any third movement start from here on in, dismiss it. It's the same old trick, a different day with a new face.